Was some kind of shady stuff you found, right?
I think, the biggest issue was the story that Floyd Mayweather tells about the dinner that Dr. Englenoff and his wife, who's also a doctor, a medical doctor, invited Floyd Mayweather over to their home in Beverlywood and served fried chicken and watermelon, which seems so extraordinary. And so
they were having sushi, right? And then
Correct.
that's what Floyd Mayweather says, and then it
that's
brings
what
this
Floyd
out.
And so here we go again, back with another one. Welcome to the Dark Times channel. And before I get started, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel and you enjoy the content so far on this channel, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so recently, Floyd Mayweather Jr., who's considered by most, including myself, to be one of the greatest boxers of all time, pound for pound. He's got 50 wins, 0 losses, 27 of them coming by KO. And so a lot of people have him in their top 5, and rightfully so. To me, he's number 1. And so recently he was in line to purchase a home in Bel Air. And it's a $139 million mansion in Bel Air, sitting on 2 acres, 12 bedrooms, 17 bathrooms, and just a plethora of more rooms than anybody should be allowed to have. And so this is a monster of a mansion. And say what you want about Floyd Mayweather. One thing he's not is sloppy. Floyd is the guy that's going to do his due diligence in and out of the ring. So according to the reports, Floyd Mayweather and his legal team uncovered some things about the house that they weren't comfortable with. And I'll let this clip play, and then of course I'll come back and chime in.
Floyd Mayweather is one of the greatest boxers of his generation, although some also think about his past legal challenges.
And so let me go ahead and pause it right there. Anytime a so-called black man has any kind of blemish on his record, if he had some legal trouble, if he went to jail, went to prison or anything like that, that's the first thing they bring up. And so when we see somebody like a Malika Andrews or a Stephen A. Smith doing what they do on ESPN, just know that they're following the same old playbook, and it's nothing new. And the only reason why they've been able to get away with it for this long is that people tend to fall asleep when somebody that looks like them is regurgitating the same old playbook that we're used to. Because they could easily do the same thing with their so-called celebrities and icons if they wanted to. Whenever they talk about somebody like a Robert Downey Jr., the only thing they mention about Robert Downey Jr. is his accolades and the movies and the roles that he's remembered for, as they should. Because if they wanted to keep the same energy, they would bring up Robert Downey's arrest record. Because Robert Downey Jr. has got a long rap sheet. You're talking about somebody that once got pulled over for speeding under the influence of crack cocaine. He had crack cocaine lying in the car. He had cocaine powder lying in the car. He had black tar heroin lying in the car. And then on top of that, he had a loaded .357 Magnum on him. And you could forget Iron Man. A so-called black man with that same kind of arrest record and that rap sheet, be lucky to be out right now. And so this is just something that I noticed right off the rip. Because this story has got nothing to do with Floyd Mayweather's legal troubles or any legal troubles that he may have had in the past. It's got zero to do with that. But yet they couldn't help themselves.
But could he now also be the person who uncovered a massive real estate tax evasion scheme? That is the question posed in a new LA Magazine article. The story is called From Ring to Real Estate. Floyd Mayweather exposes a possible mega mansion tax scam. It's written by investigative reporter Michelle McPhee, who joins us now in studio with more. Michelle, congratulations. It's a great article. So for people that haven't read it, the real condensed version of it, what happened here?
Well, so Floyd Mayweather wants his dream house, and he was looking at a $139 million property in the hills of Bel Air.
Yeah, this is it there that we see it from Redfin.
It's a stunning, stunning home, obviously, and it was designed with a buyer like Floyd Mayweather, Money Mayweather, in mind. Mm-hmm. But when they got the contract, I think there were some red flags that alarmed his lawyers. One of them being that this wasn't a house in Bel Air that he was buying at all. It was a company in Nevada, which just happens to have no income tax. And as the lawyers for Floyd Mayweather dug more into this emergency room doctor who was selling the house, it appeared that he had a bunch of, let's call them discrepancies that bordered on illegality.
Right. And well, his name is Dr. Joseph Engelenoff, and you investigated him, and it was some kind of shady stuff you found, right?
Well, I mean, I did ask him if he had ever voted in Nevada. He said no. I said, did you ever register any vehicles in Nevada? His timeline didn't match up with the reporting that we had. So it did raise some questions. I think, the biggest issue was the story that Floyd Mayweather tells about the dinner that Dr. Engelenoff and his wife, who's also a doctor, a medical doctor, invited Floyd Mayweather over to their home in Beverlywood and served fried chicken and watermelon, which seems so extraordinary. And so
they were having sushi, right? And that's what Floyd Mayweather says, and that he brings this out for them, although he denied that and said that he's not a racist, and that's being misinterpreted and all the rest of it. So is this a bigger issue beyond just this doctor, and how much money is this potentially costing all of us in terms of taxpayers?
Well, it's really interesting because this particular sale with Floyd Mayweather occurred before the mansion tax was put into place. But now, if you start looking into this LLC, somebody who sets up a company as opposed to selling a property, it seems to be rampant. There are companies dedicated to this now. So if you set up a company that's in another state, you don't have to pay this extra exorbitant tax that is supposed to be helping the neediest people in Los Angeles. Karen Bass, is very dedicated to making sure that the homeless situation is cleaned up. This is one of the ways that they're doing it, and it looks like there could be possibly lots of different ways to scam the system.
And Floyd Mayweather is a provocative and controversial figure, but I think...
And so he had to take one last shot at Floyd Mayweather, talking about he's a provocative and controversial athlete. They can't stand a Floyd Mayweather. They can't stand a Floyd Mayweather because they couldn't beat him in the ring, and they couldn't beat him outside the ring. You're talking about somebody who outsmarted the system, who outgamed the sport of boxing. Because you're talking about somebody on Floyd Mayweather who left the sport with all of his physical and mental faculties intact. And now he's worth somewhere in the $500 million range. And so not only is he getting finessed by these people, but then on top of that, they're out here serving him fried chicken and watermelon. Either this individual or group of people are that outdated with their stereotypes that they actually had the audacity to serve a so-called black man fried chicken and watermelon on a multi-million-dollar business deal, which this was. Like I said, that home was listed at $139 million. And so you're talking about a multi-million-dollar deal on the table. Either their stereotypes are outdated or they just didn't give a damn. And so based on this, it sounds like they thought they were dealing with just a dumb jock that they thought they could pull one over on. And then on top of that, serve him fried chicken and watermelon. And truth be told, I bet there's a lot of so-called black celebrities that have experiences just like this. And of course, these are things that we have to deal with on a day in and day out basis. But a lot of times you'd be surprised. These celebrities got to deal with the same thing that we have to deal with. On a smaller level, I'm sure they go through similar microaggressions. And so there's no escaping that. There's nowhere to run when it comes to that. And so I think that's going to be a wrap on this particular video, but definitely go ahead and chime in below. Let me know how y'all feel about this one. And as usual, peace and chaos.